I just been in this space before. Hi everyone, this is Kiwiji, and that song is now stuck in my head from filming another video. But I just wanted to say, this video is for thank you for supporting me for 2 years of being full time, and 4,000 on YouTube. It's been a long time since I've done anything YouTube wise, and yeah, so we're going with our Q&A video. It's been a long time since I've done a Q&A video. It's been a really incredibly possibly long time since I've done a Q&A video. It's also been an impossibly long time since I've done any YouTube things in a really long time. So these are questions submitted by on the Discord server. So we're going to do that now. Thank you everyone for sending in a bunch of questions. I'm really excited to answer some of these questions. The first question is from Couch Mug Tato, which is, why did you decide to start streaming on Twitch? That is a fairly good question. The reason why I started streaming on Twitch was there were two bouts of it. I actually started streaming on Twitch in like 2018 for fun. I have various one-off streams. I think one charity stream that I tried doing to raise money for Team Trees. We raised like $52, and now we have a garden somewhere in the world somewhere. But like, yeah, so when I started doing Twitch more regularly, it was during the pandemic. Pretty much everyone I know was trying to do stuff during the pandemic. And pretty much everyone I knew was trying to do something with their time and do something with their day. Cutting an incredibly long story short, I think a huge part of why I started streaming on Twitch is because of my experiences on YouTube. I really enjoyed making so many YouTube videos, and I had taken an incredibly long break from YouTube, and is now slowly coming back, much different person than I was when I started. But I knew that I was comfortable on camera, but I also liked talking, telling stories, making people laugh, and just generally having a good time, maybe doing some art at the same time. And that was basically the essence of what became my Twitch streaming career. It was because of my experiences on YouTube. I kind of missed those feelings, and so I decided to do that. I decided to get on the Twitch and start a Twitch channel and do all those hecky things. I'm having a great experience with it so far. Highs and lows, and obviously it became a huge thing that I started doing when I became full-time as well. Happy 2 years of full-time, everybody. I'm a full-time artist for 2 years. How butt-ass crazy is that? Alright, so next question is from Mitsuo, which is, where did your inspiration to design cute little things come from? That is incredibly vague. Because what cute things are you referring to? Is it Sprout-kun over there? Because I had a brief stint on Instagram where I was designing like lots and lots of cute art, because again, I'm not proud of it, but when I started doing full-time, it was about trying to find my identity as an artist. I knew I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to be a full-time artist, but what exactly am I doing? What am I drawing? What am I contributing? What am I making? What am I adding to the internet of crap that's already been made 1,000 times before? So much crap everywhere. I suppose my inspiration for drawing cute things, I'm gonna take Sprout-kun as an example, mostly come from the stories that I do want to tell. Sprout-kun itself is probably one of the lasting long characters of cute things that I have designed and kept. I have many other things that I have designed and not kept. But the things that have stayed is because I want to tell a story. And the story of Sprout-kun is a long one, but ultimately is the thematics and feelings of how you can keep growing as a person, growing, changing, maturing like a plant. And that's kind of why we have this whole bean aesthetic going on in our community and in our little space. In our little space. Absolutely, like literally the next question is from Melon. Thank you, Melon. Which is, what is Sprout-kun's origin story? Sprout-kun's origin story has two parts. There is a lore to it that I am currently working on making into a comic. But in the reality sense, Sprout-kun's origins came from the fact that I wanted to make a little mascot. So I want to make a longer video about this when the time is right or in the future. But when I created Sprout-kun, or the first iterations of Sprout-kun, it was more around the time when I started taking what I did on the internet a little bit more seriously. I created Sprout-kun as a mascot character to appear at the end of my end cards or at the end of my intro, the really earliest one I've ever made, the one that I made myself. I made him to represent, again, the thematics and feelings that I was learning and experiencing through going through intense therapy, that it is okay to make mistakes, it's okay to grow, it's okay to mature and learn and change all the time. And that is one of the things that is pretty great about plants. They're incredibly versatile and can weather a big old storm. And so I created Sprout-kun. It's a very long story short, but I created Sprout-kun with those thematics in him, and also because I kind of wanted like a cute mascot to carry on with me as I continued on this journey of creating more art and becoming more of a presence and more of a full-time content creator that I am now. So yeah, and now he's real. Now he's fat. Now he's there. And my buddy, my best friend, cuddly business partner, and a terrible roommate. This one is from Claude, which is, do you have someone who inspired you to do art? Like ages and ages ago, I started doing art because I wanted to create cringy comics and just draw myself kissing the other characters that I liked in shows. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm 27 now. Like, I did all those things when I was like 10, and I still kind of do those things now. But like, I still can't do those things now. Make the OCs kiss. But at the same time, it's like, what's the word? When I was about 10, my classmate, who was a really fantastic artist, created a DeviantArt account for me and was very, very supportive of the idea of me putting my art on DeviantArt. So we created this really bad DeviantArt account when I was about 10, 11 years old. Not a name, not Kiwiji, a different name. And I posted art there for many years. It wasn't until about 2014, I want to say, about there, I started playing this game called Dragon Age. And Dragon Age was about a game where like they really encourage you to get into the role-playing aspect of it. You are the protagonist. It was a really great game. Won Game of the Year that year or something like that, or Best RPG ever or something like that. But that's when I started creating a lot of comics and started like talking to a lot more people on DeviantArt. And there were a couple of people that I'm not going to mention, but like just other artists that saw my art, I became friends with. We've drifted apart over time, but that doesn't really matter in the end. But they would be telling me things like, "Oh, your art's really great. You know, you could really do something." Like if you added backgrounds, if you did this, if you did that, you can really elevate it. And it was like, I wouldn't say, as an answer to your question, Claude, that there was one person or something or someone that has inspired me to do art. I would say that it was the people that I met along the way in my life that didn't judge me or didn't look down on me for doing art, and instead said, you know what? You're having fun and you're having a really good time, so why don't you just keep doing it? So I've met loads of people on DeviantArt since then, and also online, who were saying like, why don't you try this, why don't you try that? And I really enjoyed experimenting. I made loads of comics back in 2015. Since then I had been writing stories, loads and loads of stories, and I think that's probably the thing that's pushed me forward in my art more than anything else. More than anything, like, you know, like something a little bit stronger than numbers or views or anything of the sort was the fact that I wanted to tell stories. I think that's the thing that has driven me the most to this point, even the creation of Sprout-kun, of which I have made many mascot characters in my life. Maybe one day I'll show them all, but like I've made so many, and he's the only one that's stuck. My whole life I've made tons of them. And I guess in the way, at the end of the day, it's all about the stories that you want to tell and the stories that you want to show. And it's also a mix of the people who met me along the way. Is the answer, is there someone? No, there isn't. There is just several wonderful people in my life and stories I want to tell. So I don't know if that's an answer to your question or not, Claude. Are there, this one is from Unknown Sushi, or City Sushi, my best friend and one of my best friends and my mod. Are there any other I can't read. Are there any other art mediums that you would like to learn to tie into your digital illustrative work? Art mediums? Not particularly. I'm not particularly interested in combining traditional and digital art together. The things I would like to learn though are things like art mediums. Animation is a medium, I suppose. I would love to learn to make some animations. I've got so many scenes in my head, or like whatever, that I would love to do animation. Animation just takes so long. It's absolutely batshit time consuming as hell. Art mediums. Traditional is a medium. Animation is a medium. I would really, I guess if I had to pick one, it would be animation. I would love animation to tie into some of the stuff that I do. In terms of other things that I would like to learn, I would love to learn like Blender. I would love to learn motion graphics. I'm currently learning some motion graphics now. Is it successful? It's very slow. Video editing as well, like these are all just things I'm just throwing them at you guys now and just seeing what sticks. But I would like to get better at video editing. I have a very basic knowledge, and whatever I've learned from my years of making those AMVs is very outdated by now, and I don't even have the same softwares as I used to do. But yeah, I would actually love to make a music video, like another MV. I have made one about Sprout-kuns, about the bean sprouts and the garden. I have made one. I would love to make another. There's a lot of little things I want to do. I think I've mentioned quite a lot there, and I don't even think I have the time to get into all of those things. But there are a lot of things I would love to dip my fingers into to move my digital art forward. But I think the only thing I can say is traditional. No, I don't have the time to learn traditional stuff and then like mix it together with with digital. But yeah, there's a lot of people that I know do that. And I don't have the time. I would love to try Posca markers though. Like that's just the thing that I've just always wanted to try. I've always seen, those TikTok videos of like Posca markers like being awesome, and I've always just kind of wanted to try that myself. So I don't know, one day I'll get some Posca markers and see what happens. Two questions that I'm going to put together. One is from Belle Ann, which is, what is your favorite musical if you have one? My favorite musical, instant gun to my head, I would probably have to say like Hamilton, because for the sheer reason that Hamilton as a musical, as an entire soundtrack, was probably the longest brain rot musical that lasted in my head. I listened to the entire soundtrack front to back to front, the other way. I planned animatics of my own to make, and so on and so forth. So like off the top of my head, like gun to my head, instant gut reaction, it will probably have to be Hamilton. But it's been an incredibly long time since my Hamilton brain rot phase. So if I could offer another question that's not gun to the head, Hamilton, I would actually really, really love to see Dear Evan Hansen on stage. Dear Evan Hansen is a musical that still strikes to my very heart to this day. I've seen camera footage of the entire musical. I have heard from many people that seeing it live is a whole other level, and let's not even talk about the movie. But Dear Evan Hansen's music is something that doesn't fail to make me feel emotional. So I feel like if I had to pick another one that's not like Hamilton, is the one that's lasted the longest in terms of like hyperfixation. I've never hyperfixated on a musical before in my life except Hamilton. But if we're talking about just the general sense of like music and story and so on and so forth, Dear Evan Hansen is great. I love Dear Evan Hansen. The music will touch me and continue to touch me for a very long time. And yeah, that's just the ticket, ain't it? It's just the ticket. Here's another question from Couch Mocktator, which is, excluding Pacific Rim, what movies do you like? I've said what movies do you like? I've said quite a few times on Twitch and on Discord that Pacific Rim is one of my favorite movies, because it's one that fills me with so much glee and joy. And how could you not enjoy awesome looking robots just beating the shit out of monsters? It's action packed, makes me really happy. But other movies that I love besides that would have to be Mulan is one. Mulan has always been my favorite ever since I was a kid, for obvious reasons. But representation and race and everything aside, Mulan is a great movie. The soundtrack or the scene where she gets out of the rain, steps into the temple, prays to the ancestors, and then leaves, and then takes out the sword, and then cuts her hair, and like hesitates, and then cuts her hair, and then like whoosh, and then like ties it together, like that will always like, every time I think about that scene, it just drums start up in my heart, and it's just, oh my god, it's just amazing. That was my childhood right there. I would get into fights in school, like not fist fighting, but like verbal fights. I would get into verbal fights in school, in high school even, when people would be like, what's your favorite Disney princess? And I'll be like, it's Mulan. And then they'll be like, at the time, Mulan was not a real Disney princess yet, and still like it wasn't part of the Disney princess brand, and I would literally like fight to the death in school. I would be like, what has Ariel done exactly, huh? What has Ariel done? What has Sleeping Beauty done, huh? Mulan has saved all of China. What do you want to say about that, honestly? Like, where's the competition? There's no competition. There's only Mulan. She saved the whole country. What the hell did the others do? And it was very like antagonistic. I'm much older now. I actually have like at least in Ariel, like for the Little Mermaid, of which I used to shit on constantly for being the worst Disney princess. I no longer think that the Little Mermaid is the worst Disney princess. That's a different question, not even a question that you asked. But Mulan is a great movie. I love Mulan a lot. I think this is a really good question to end on. This is from Monster Camo, which is what are your future ambitions for your business? My future ambitions for my business would be to obviously work on more Reverie. Reverie is a webcomic. If the YouTube beans are here and have no idea what I'm talking about, Reverie is a webcomic that I have been working on and off. Not on and off, but constantly. I've been constantly working on it since last year, and I haven't stopped the grind. The grind is very, very strong. I would love to push Reverie further. I want to make more chapters. I want to make more, like, I have pages. I want to make more chapters. Like, right now we're on chapter 1. Chapter 1 is about to be finished. Chapter 2 will be something else. There's gonna be a lot of pages of Reverie. I would like to push Reverie further, and I also would love to push Sprout-kun stuff a little bit further, and also just generally just pushing, just growing. I future ambitions, I suppose, isn't like goals that would be like next year or anything of the sort, but I would just love to work on Reverie. Reverie, honestly, is the biggest ambition I've had. It's a dream that I've always had to create and publish Reverie since about 2018, 2016. I've made this story, and it's like, now is the time. Now is the time to put it. Now is the time I feel comfortable writing it and putting it out there, and it is that time. I can't wait for it. Now it's really heavy rain outside, and I am so sorry for that. But future ambitions would be obviously to build the store, to build Reverie into something that I could sell more OC content about. It would be so great to go to conventions and then people come up to me and go like, oh my god, are you the creator of Reverie? That would be great. That would be so great. I think I would cry the day that actually happens, and someone comes up to me and says, are you the creator of Reverie? It's awesome. And it's just like, yeah, Reverie is definitely my biggest ambition, and it's definitely something I want to push. But other than that, making more Sprout-kuns and increasing the garden lore or whatever, bean sprout lore, whatever, that's a little side thing that I love doing as well. And yeah, so there are other questions in the Discord, but I think they are more suitable for longer vlog topics. I already have them written down. So I think this is a good point to stop the Q&A. Thank you guys so much for all your questions. Thank you guys again for supporting me for this long. Thank you for 4,000 on YouTube, and also thank you for the 2 years of being a full-time content creator and illustrator, full-time artist, all that good jazz. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!